This was the week where California made it illegal to remove a condom during sex without consent in an all too common practice known as stealthing, or the entire plot line to the unfunny misogynistic Apatow movie Knocked Up. I'm sorry. I hate that movie. I'm like Katherine Hagel's a goddess. Never, Rogan, never. The law doesn't make it a criminal offense, obviously, but a civil one. Very interesting. So I want to read you more about this stealthing law. The bill amends the state's civil definition of sexual battery, making stealthing a civil offense and giving victims the grounds to sue their assailants for damages. And this is from the governor's office of California. Assemblywoman Garcia helped sign this bill, saying victims of stealthing will be able to take civil action against their perpetrators. By passing this bill, we are underlining the importance of consent. Now, a little bit more on stealthing. It seems like it's very common. A study published in the National Library of Medicine in 2019 reported that 12% of women say they had been a victim of stealthing. Another study found that 10% of men admitted to removing their condom during intercourse without their partner's consent. 10% admitted? How many do you think actually do, if only 10% of men admit that?
You know what, Francesca? And I realize that it's rich for a woman who's married to a woman to say this to a man, to say this to a woman who is engaged to a man. We're both partnered with the good ones, right?
Okay, so, yes. I was like, where are you going with this? What am I missing?
At what point do young women just decide that having sex with men is just like not worth it? Not worth it. I think this is great. And actually Assembly Member Garcia is on the right side of a lot of issues this session. She's gotten a few bills signed and they've all been really exciting and cool. But you know, it's exciting that California is doing this, but it's a shame that this isn't something that is illegal on a federal level. And it's a shame that it's not illegal in more states, because it is an extreme violation of consent and bodily autonomy, and it can expose people who have sex with men to diseases and pregnancy, and it's awful. It's an awful practice. 10% of men admitting they do it is I like rebuke that. Like, that makes me so upset. I feel like I'm gonna black out.
Well, there's something really, it's also really disturbing because there is a, you know, in the movie Knocked Up, once again, which I don't like, there is a line where he was like, I thought you knew, like, I thought you could feel. And that's sort of, it's this like gray area, because it's like, well, can't you feel it? And wouldn't you say something if you knew that it wasn't there, that kind of thing. And that's not always true. You guys, the birth canal doesn't have that many nerves because birds have to happen through it. You can't always feel and you can't always tell.
It's not designed to feel texture. It's designed like it can feel pressure, but it's not really a texture zone, you know? So like the difference between
it's a pressure zone, not a texture zone.
Well, it is like, there's not, yeah. I mean, even, you know, I know that I'm kind of blowing up Trojan's spot with the idea that there's somehow like ribbed for someone's enhanced pleasure.
Nobody can feel those things.
You can't feel those things. You can't really tell. I mean, and also if a sexual encounter occurs when people have been drinking or using marijuana, or if there's something that reduces sensation in any way, like, you'd be even less likely to feel it. So
totally.
I forgot that about Knocked Up.
Although
I totally forgot that.
When you do sex on weed, you really can feel everything. That's why it's good. Anyway, I'm just going to read a little bit more about this. So according to this bill stemmed from a Yale professor's study about stealthing, she writes, Ms. Brodsky says that in contrast to criminal cases in which prosecutors bring charges and a jury can set a convicted person to prison, civil suit remedies were often more useful to victims. Quote, there are many survivors who do not want to see the person who hurt them in prison and could really use help covering medical debt, or could use help having the resources to see a therapist, Ms. Brodsky said. So again, making this a civil offense is really, for me, it feels much more like transformative or restorative justice seeking in ways where, you know, we know that a lot of rape victims know the perpetrator intimately, know them well, right? That it isn't a dude hiding behind the bushes or whatever it is. It's a friend, right? And that you don't necessarily want, not in all cases, but especially in a case like this, like not necessarily criminal charges, but yeah, some sort of, you know, you should pay damages if I got pregnant, if I got an STI. Just the sheer violation of doing that without my consent, there needs to be, some people need to answer for that. Absolutely. And I feel like we don't really have a language, you know, for that. Obviously, rape is criminal. And up until now, I felt like a lot of folks considered removing a condom without consent as rape. And I was sort of always like, I get how it could be, but it's nice that we have language now for a fucking other crime. Like crime.
In Sweden, it's rape. It counts as rape in Sweden. And like here, having it count as sexual battery and being open to civil suits, I think makes a lot more sense for the reasons that you mentioned and for the reasons the article mentioned. I also think that it sort of defangs the kind of whiny, like devil's advocate side of the argument. Like, why would you ruin a man's life? This isn't ruining a man's life to ask them to pay to help fix things that they caused by a violating decision that they made. So it does seem to make a lot of sense. And I think, and I hope that the law is something that is applied in a way that helps people.
Yeah, 100%. Want to know something else that was passed? And this is insane that this was part of the bill. The governor signed another bill sponsored by Ms. Garcia into law on Thursday, a measure that removes spousal exemption to the state's laws on rape. That's California.
Again,
it's the year 2021. What the fuck is going on? There was an exemption if your spouse is the person who rapes you.
Yeah. And there are, believe it or not, a lot of people in a lot of parts of the country that believe that there is, that to be married to someone as a woman implies just consent forever for whatever. And it's super fucked up. It's extremely fucked up.
You got to earn that consent. And even then, is it always enthusiastic? I don't know. Marriage is tough. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom. Do it.